Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is Ninja Knight. Make sure you like the video, make sure you share the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you. So in the year 2020, when you see a name trending on Twitter, it usually means one of two things. That person is either having a really bad time or they're going to have a very bad time. And so I seen the name Ellie Kelly trending on Twitter 2 nights ago. She's an Irish influencer and she spoke out about the Bperfect event that she attended in Belfast, and she said she was naive. Now, in the video that she posted, which has since been deleted, she gave a sort of apology for attending the event. If Ellie Kelly had have been thinking, she would have said absolutely nothing and let the company take the heat. Instead, she stood out, she made an apology that I think a lot of people felt was insincere and disingenuous, and she has reaped the benefits of the SJW woke mob coming after her. You never bend the knee to these mob of weirdos and SJWs, and I think this is a big learning curve for a very young girl. What should have happened was, when this company was found out to have brought a lot of alleged in quotes celebrities and these influencers, God, I mean, how can you have a job as an influencer? Imagine that is the world that we live in. But nevertheless, had brought these people to Northern Ireland, and now Twitter decided to send on a girl that has had holidays and has broken regulations according to them. So let's take a look at some of the comments that was talked about. So Katie here says Ellie Kelly's so-called apology is really the straw that broke the camel's back, by starting it off by saying we are all rubbing our hands together, waiting to attack her because we have nothing better to be doing. No, we are sticking to restrictions, not going to another country. So this is the general comment that you get to see, and I suppose it is disingenuous when someone's making some sort of apology and saying, well, you're all rubbing your hands together. She knows full well what she's doing. Is this good press or bad press? There is the rumour that you say no press is bad press, so she's gotten her name elevated, but what will this mean in the long term? Rachel then says, I've seen a lot of influencers apologise for different things, but my God, Ellie Kelly has given the most half-arsed, insincere, unapologetic apology I've ever heard. I would sincerely doubt that now, Rachel. Have you ever listened to any politicians here in Ireland? They certainly give very unapologetic apologies that you have ever heard. In fact, trying to say that influencers do give genuine apologies is not real whatsoever. Some of them are fairly good actors, I would say. 2 holidays in 2 months, a massive event in Belfast, whilst your county is on lockdown. Oh, honey. Nikita says, I'm a big fan of Ellie Kelly, but her actions the past few weeks have just been so self-entitled. Is a holiday really that important during a world pandemic, and then to not even self-isolate? Well, I presume if she went on holiday it was on the green list, but were you outraged about Phil Hogan, who came over here, didn't self-isolate? He was coming over from Europe, and then he was driving through counties that were on lockdown whilst he was on the phone. Were you outraged by that one? Then to leave her own county, which is on lockdown, to go to an event, class A stupidity. Rachel then says, imagine being annoyed that people are rightfully calling you out because you came back from Greece less than 2 weeks ago, refused to self-isolate, and then left Dublin to go to Belfast to attend an event. It's Ellie Kelly's world and we're all living in it, apparently. Ariana then says, I really hope all the people who took time out of their day to write a nasty tweet about Ellie Kelly and make comments on anything personal about her realise they are bullies and off. That's a fair enough comment. Hannah says, Ellie Kelly is the most self-entitled person ever. The fact she started her apology with "this is stupid" just goes to show how disingenuous her apology was. Stop giving these people a platform for their ignorance and blatant selfishness. Gilroy says, Ellie Kelly's apology over the Bperfect launch has to be the least genuine thing I've ever heard in my life. She clearly doesn't give a shit. Are these the influencers the government want to pay to promote COVID safety? So that's interesting there, Gilroy. You're talking about promoting safety, and it is amazing to think that the government want to hand influencers, I think, in the region of €20,000. Things I think would be better would be giving the nurses their pay, giving teachers their pay, and making sure that they were safe, and the nurses of course are safe along with the doctors. Maybe giving funds to the guards to making sure there's extra guards and that they are properly kitted out for this stuff. That would have been better ways to spend money, but our harebrained government decided not to do that. Now what's interesting here is the comments that people are making about Ellie Kelly, and without taking sides here or anything like that, but if you're going to comment about Ellie Kelly, Should you not be talking about the half-wits that are in government that are allowing the likes of Keelings to import people here to pick fruit during the middle of this pandemic, and the government that also allowed a Black Lives Matter protest to occur in not only town but also in Blanchardstown? That is part of the government. You also have Leo Varadkar, who at the time was Taoiseach, was having drinks in the Phoenix Park with his buddies. That wasn't supposed to be happening. He also moved premises where he was supposed to be staying that was further away, that broke regulations as well too. Now, very simply, I'm going to put it like this. You were abiding by regulations by people that have gotten into government on 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th counts. You have harebrained individuals like Micheál Martin, who's a secondary school or a primary school teacher, one of the other. What would he know about anything to do with this? What would Leo Varadkar know anything to do about this that I've heard personally he was probably one of the most inept doctors around? A guy who got his license from Mumbai. What about Simon Harris, that's in charge of 3rd level education? A man that went to 3rd level college and dropped out. A flunky. This is the type of individual that's running this country, and yet you want this young girl to be accountable with making up rules that individuals have made up within this country. It's absolutely laughable. You've had Tony Holohan, a guy that was involved in the cervical check scandal, massively involved in that and employed in that one. Came out like a little scared dog the first time he came out for his big talk. After that then swaggered into the place thinking he was the main man because the country was bending to his will. We've seen businesses start to go out of business. We've started to see people be very impacted on their own lives. So what I'm going to say is this. If you were criticising Ellie Kelly, and I in no means think that she was maybe right about this one, but it's a capitalist society. What is she going to do? Sit at home and say, yeah, well, Twitter would drag me over me going to do a bit of work and getting a bit of money? Absolutely not. She's gone out and worked. So if you don't have any problem with doctors, nurses, teachers, guards, prison officers, and people that work in Tesco's in the vital essential workers category going to work, you have no room to talk. If you have no issue with the people that attended the Black Lives Matter protest, you have no room to talk. If you have no issue with Keelings bringing people in from another country, unvetted, undocumented, untested, you have no room to talk. If you have no issue with Golfgate that occurred with Derek Cleary and Phil Hogan and the rest of them that attended that there, you have no room to talk. If you have no issue with the parties that have been occurring all over the country, or if you have attended one of those parties, you've no room to talk. If you've been going out and meeting a person or bringing a person to your house that you weren't supposed to do during this lockdown, you've no room to talk. So before you decide to cast stones and try to intimidate a girl like this, think about it yourself and say, am I being hypocritical before I make statements like this? And if you are, maybe it's best not to say anything. Ultimately, I'm going to bring it back to the point of, I don't think Ellie Kelly should have been coming out apologising whatsoever. I think the ire of people should be directed at the company, because ultimately it is the companies that are deciding to do this and are deciding to flaunt these, in quotes, regulations, in quotes, these mandatory rules. This country needs to take a very sharp and severe look at itself. SJWism, wokeness, and this cancel culture is starting to become on a very high rise here in this country. That is not what this country needs nor wants. You're supposed to back people. Is it great that she comes out and makes a statement the way she does and the way she might look in the video? Probably not. But I think she might have learned from this now, insofar as that she might not do something like that again in terms of coming out and saying anything. Let the company deal with it. Let them take the flak. Because you are one singular person, you are easy to target. Whereas if you are involved with a company, it's done by committee. People can only blame the company, and then the committee then go, well, yeah, multiple people involved there. That's what the government do. They say, oh, well, you know, there was a group of people there involved in that, and that happened. So I don't want to be hearing any of this nonsense whatsoever, because if you have an issue with her, and I am a no friend or no real fan or anything like that of Ellie whatsoever, but if you have an issue with that, and yet you've broken these so-called guidelines, I don't think you've any room to talk whatsoever. I'm going to leave the video there. Make sure you like the video, make sure you share the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'll talk to you later. Good luck.